Welcome to The Creatives. I am your host, Ashley Mahoney. This is a Charlotte Post podcast, and we've been on a bit of a hiatus during the pandemic, and that has been a heck of the last couple months. So if you're listening to this, I hope you're safe. I hope you're well. Most importantly, I hope that you're excited for October because we made it. We're here, we're in October, and we have a fabulous guest joining us today, Bianca Bonner of Charlotte Ballet. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Zoom is honestly, prior to 2020, I had never heard of Zoom, never used Zoom. Now Zoom is a daily, it's coffee and Zoom. We've got the coffee here. We're ready to roll, ready to rumble. And everything it's a lot like this in terms of instruction and enjoying the arts, but particularly with Charlotte Ballet's REACH program.
Yes.
The upcoming semester from October until December, it's going to be entirely virtual. So tell me a bit about the audition process and how the virtual auditions are going and how people can get involved with the auditions on October 9th.
Sure. So actually we're going to be virtual from October to February of 2021.
Okay.
And we have started the program. We were holding off because what we didn't want to do was start the program virtually and then move it into the recreation centers. And then families weren't able to get their kids there. So we wanted to make sure that it was fair. So we're kind of breaking it off into two different semesters, where the very first part of the semester, there will be virtual, and then the second, hopefully, we'll be back into the rec centers. So we started off with our auditions. We just finished out our third audition yesterday evening, and it was actually Wednesday evening, and it was awesome. I kind of like the virtual auditions better. They're more relaxed. We were able to speak one-on-one with each parent, and then also give them some information where they felt comfortable in asking questions on a Zoom platform. And then students were able, I was the one who administered the movement while our education manager, Ms. Kimberly Pereira, went ahead and did the adjudication. And so we gave them the movement. We were able to give each child a number, and then we were able to do it at least 3 or 4 times. Then we gave them a small combination, and it gave them a little bit more pride and a little bit more courage because they're in their own homes, and they went ahead and went for it. And I spoke with a lot of our second and third year students, and I said, well, how did that feel? How was it different? And they actually enjoyed it. They thought it was, a little bit better because they were able to just feel comfortable.
How does this, of course, you mentioned it'll be October until February. So is the plan in the beginning of February to move potentially into the?
I believe it's to the end of February. So March, April, and May, we hopefully should be in the rec centers.
And like you said, that breaks it into the 2-semester platform, one being virtual, one being hopefully in person.
Yes. So we want to make sure that I'm crossing fingers that families are able to transition from the virtual classes into our recreation centers. And Park and Rec has been extremely helpful with pushing the word out to all of our different clients that's in those areas, but we've been extremely blessed to be working with the Park and Recreation of Charlotte-Mecklenburg.
Of course, this is a first for the program, and just about everyone being mostly or entirely virtual, it's a first in a lot of ways. I mean, doing this virtually via Zoom instead of, Zoom should be paying everyone advertising dollars for how much free publicity they're getting, but doing this via Zoom instead of doing it in person at the studio like we would typically do. What are some of the benefits, like you said, having the comfort of being in your own home, not having to worry about someone being able to take you to or from class, but what are some of the other benefits of being able to take this and transition everything to the virtual experience rather than the in-studio experience?
Well, it keeps everyone safe first and foremost, and that's our main priority, to make sure that everyone is safe during this pandemic. And so that's the first. And then also we can count on them to be there. everyone will be home, or be somewhere where they can use their Chromebooks that's been disseminated through the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school systems or whatever school system that they're a part of. And so that's one. And then also being able to have to focus. I know when you're the only one in the space, it's always great to have your friends and to have, just the camaraderie of others around you. But when you're the only one in the space doing what you do, then you're a little bit more focused, and the teacher can actually focus more as well. So everyone is focused on both ends, and so some of those things are always great and essential in teaching a ballet or another form of dance class.
Exactly. You led into the next point that I was going to ask you about in terms of the technology side of things, of making sure that if students want to participate, they have the technological means. And I know that something that's discussed quite a bit in Charlotte is the digital divide, and making sure that these students have one, access to programming like this in a traditional setting, but also, all right, it's transitioned to virtual. Do they have the means to be able to participate in something like this? So you mentioned the Chromebooks that would be supplied by their school system. Is that something that is kind of not so much accounted for, but counted on in terms of saying, all right, school system's already taken care of it, or will there be additional means to making sure that if a child wants to participate, they have the technology side?
And so those are things that we have discussed for, the digital deserts, like we like to call, within the city. And because, we are taking advantage that Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system has already addressed all those needs. And so that's why we feel that having these Zoom classes will be a little bit easier versus if schools weren't giving out Chromebooks or iPads or anything of that nature. If we do have any student that, is in need, we will, press upon our donors who are, extremely giving, or press upon anyone who may want to donate so that our child can be a part of this program. What we don't want to do is leave anyone out due to technology.
Yeah, I know in the past we've discussed the traditional interaction between company dancers and reach students and having that involvement, but what does that look like in terms of the upcoming semester? Is it going to be, they'll still be involved, it'll just be virtually, or how does that work?
Well, we're definitely want to give our second and first company opportunities to engage with our REACH students. Usually we go in with a lecture demonstration performance at the end of September. So once we get our dancers back in October, sometime mid of this month, we're going to definitely, press upon them as well to come on in. And if you'd like to do a question and answer, we like to schedule at least 2 enrichment sessions throughout the year where the students are able to engage with the second company. But if we can get some first company and second company dancers to actually just do a question and answer, and they can, personal attention to me is a little bit better, only because they can ask any question that they like. They feel like they're in their home. They're like, "Ooh, look, what do you have behind you?" So, those types of things, it's just like an open invitation into who they are and what they do.
Potentially, is this something that could transition even into not just the second semester, but going forward, but perhaps creating a combination of, if you're part of the program, but for whatever reason, you don't have a ride or you can't make it to a given session, you can still participate. It'll just be virtually.
Yeah, this is something that I think with all of our programming, I've been explaining this to our executive director, even with our educational performances, it can go beyond Charlotte. We can, address rural areas that it's difficult to get to the city. And so to me, this was, a small blessing, because we can reach out to those places that, most likely wouldn't be able to get to us. And so we can really put on a little bit of an impression past past the borderlines of the state.
Exactly. I know that's something, especially with classes and projects and a lot of things, whether it's in the creative realm or any number of things, this has opened up so many doors for people to be able to participate and join in. And it's not just Mecklenburg County, it's not just North Carolina. I mean, the virtual world is, yeah, the boundaries don't exist. So saying the sky's the limit, there is no limit. But what are you looking forward to most about it? Whether it's just the interaction with the students and knowing that the show does go on, and is it something along those lines, or is it perhaps something different?
Well, just knowing that we're able to continue with the program. I know we have some families and some children, this has been extremely difficult. And even for our teaching artists, it's been, extremely difficult for some. And so this can also be a health check-in for those, because what we don't want our folk to think that, we're not thinking of them, or, we want it to be as normal as possible, whatever, even if this is our new normal. But it's important that we can be able to still reach out to our families, especially our children, so to know that we are thinking of them, that life is still existing, and we want to be able to continue and move on. But it'll be healthy for teachers, for the teaching artists, for the students, for the families, and dance is cathartic, and it's a form of release. So hopefully we can continue just providing this wonderful program.
Fantastic. And how can people sign up for the October 9th audition?
Awesome. If they go to charlotteballet.org, they can find all of the information, and they can register for our October 9th audition. It's a wonderful program, 29 weeks of, we're shortened this year, 20 weeks of ballet and other forms of dance twice a week, and with wonderful teaching artists. For our first year students, we're still giving free leotard, tights, and shoes. Hopefully, crossing our fingers, there are performance opportunities for the students to observe. And then we are pushing forward for a year in production, whether it be on a stage or virtually.
Now, what would a year-end production virtually look like? And I'm sure there's still a lot that has to be ironed out between now and then.
Yes. So we ended, well, that's how we started the pandemic, with a virtual year-end production. And so what we did is we contacted all of the students, and we asked them to send in 30 seconds of what they learned in ballet and 30 seconds of what they learned in their other form of dance. And we went to work and created a video for their families and for, the Charlotte Ballet family, donors and friends. And we created something for them just so that they can, culminate the season, and it wasn't just hanging. So by any means necessary, we're going to finish it with with some sort of performance.
Fantastic. And it is going to be a phenomenal 20 weeks, I'm sure. And as always, it is a pleasure speaking with you about the wonderful programming that Charlotte Ballet is offering to the community, and much success with the upcoming semester. And hopefully all the first-time students, all the returning students, it will be a tremendous experience. And as always, Bianca, thank you so much for joining me today.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Until next time, I am your host, Ashley Mahoney. Thank you for listening.